Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel or to the class, depending on the way that you found this video. So my name is Rich Charpentier. I'm the owner of azdrone.net. And for those of you who are picking this up in my new online class on the Theta Z1, I'm actually doing this recording for YouTube as well. So for those of you folks who've stumbled across me through YouTube, welcome to the channel. What we're going to be doing today, we're going to be talking about a shoot that I recently did with Ricoh's Theta Z1 and using one of their automated settings to create a 360 virtual tour. So this video is also going to show up on the class because we're going to walk through the major parts of the process. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty of lots of edits or anything here, but I'm going to walk you through assembling this Theta Z1 360 tour and then putting it up on Kula. So Kula is actually the 360 host that I use, and there are multiple 360 hosts out there, so you don't have to use Kula, but I wanted to take you through this entire shoot. So this is actually a home that we were renting for a couple of years, and we have relocated, and over this past weekend, I actually went through and shot the house empty with the Theta Z1, and I used several different modes to do it. So in the case of what we're going to be doing today, I used the automatic HDR mode on my iPhone or on my Android device. And in my class series, we actually go through all of the settings and everything. And that class will be coming out in the near future, probably by March of 2021. So if you like what you see on this video, it gives you an idea of how we instruct things here, and you want to be notified, be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn notifications on. Click that little dinner bell. And with that said, we're going to dive into this. This is a longer video. This is a long tutorial, and there's a reason why, because there's a lot of steps. So the first thing we did, of course, was I went through and shot the home interior. In total, we got 20 images with Ricoh's Theta Z1 and the iOS application for my iPhone 8. So I had control of the camera and I could see what I was setting up on screen and make sure that it worked out to my satisfaction. Now in these automated modes, the Theta Z1 will actually get everything ready to be stitched for you so that you don't have to throw it into either the Ricoh stitcher or something like PT GUI. The automated modes will actually do that for you with each shot. So that's a nice thing. Now, this is not a high-end tour. This is what I would consider a lower-end tour for clients who don't want to spend too much on a 360 tour, but do want to have a 360 tour on their site. The Ricoh Theta Z1 offers some much higher-end tools as well to really do some amazing stuff and produce high-end 360-degree tours. So we're going with the low-end introduction one. Now, as I said, I shot 20 images in total, and this is what imported from the Z1 to my Lightroom library. Now, I did already go through and I pumped these up just a little bit. I pumped up the exposure a little. I dropped the highlights so that we could see some of the detail through the windows. And so I went through each of the rooms in the house, and in some areas we did multiple images of the same room because the living room is very large. So 20 images in total, not much in the way of heavy editing or anything here. So if I were to be doing this for a client, I would spend a little more time doing a little bit with the edits because there are some noticeable issues in some of the rooms. So we're just going to arrow through some of these and just give you an idea. So you can see at the bottom of the screen that we do have my monopod stand showing up, and that monopod stand can easily be brushed out in either Lightroom, or if you want to use Affinity Photo or Photoshop, whatever you like for doing higher end edits, you can do that and get rid of these little footies. We're not going to remove these for the sake of time. We're not going to deep dive into heavy edits of these. Once again, what came out of the Z1 is pretty good, almost usable, but you should spend a little extra time doing edits if you have some bad paint patches anywhere. I'm just arrowing through these quickly so I can show you an example. And here we go in the master bedroom. We can see that we've got some noticeable paint blotches where the owners of the property had actually tried to match to patch some areas, but didn't get the exact color. So let's take another look at one more so that we can see what I'm talking about with these issues. Here we go. Same entryway. You can see right in here, over here, and here. We're not going to edit those out today because that would make this a multi-hour video. And as you can see, again, we've got that one right there. So we have that in a couple of places. So definitely not perfection. For doing this for a client, I would spend time, I'd go through each of these images and I'd buff out those rough spots. I also might do just a little bit of fine tuning with the white balance. But overall, the images that we extracted from this home are pretty darn representative. And for a guy who lived in the place for 2 years, the colors are looking pretty spot on. So we're going to go ahead and ignore the bad stuff, okay? This is just to give you this high-level overview of how we assemble a final tour, so from the start to the finish. Just to let you know, by the way, in Lightroom, I also do get the timestamp of when these were shot, so 10:38 a.m., and we've got 20 images, so let's get down to that 20th image, and that was shot at 11:03. So we were working around someone cleaning in the building as well, so this could have gone a little faster. So if you're doing a quick run and gun and where they want a simple basic 360 tour to give people the feel of the property, I think using one of the automated modes like the HDR mode on the Ricoh Theta Z1 is a great approach. And you can also let your potential clients know we can do higher end versions as well. And those higher end versions will be popping up in the new course coming out in the near future. And I even have some examples down here of multi-bracketing and also using a plugin for creating the higher end images as well, the dual fisheye plugin. I forgot the name there for a moment. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to select all these and we're going to go ahead and pretend that we edited all the stuff that we didn't like. And so I've just selected all of the images, the first 20 images, and I'm going to go ahead to export, and I'm going to export to a preset that I've created for myself called full-size panos. So it makes a folder on my desktop for me, so I've got ease of access there. And the images are going to be exported quality at 100%, and we're going to do this at 240 pixels per inch. We really don't need to have our resolution that high. We could actually go lower. We're not printing here, but Kula does allow me to import larger images, so I'm going to take advantage of that. So I'm just going to go down here and I'm going to hit export. And now we're just waiting for the 20 files in Lightroom. Up here in the left-hand corner, it says it's exporting 20 files for me. So we'll be hopping out of Lightroom in a minute, and I'm going to give you one quick example of some of the cleanup that I do. Like I said, we're not going to go through and edit every one of these, but I'm just going to show you how easy it is to buff out that little monopod if you, in fact, you want to buff out that monopod. So we're just waiting on the export of those 20 files. My apologies. It's taking a moment. And there we go. So the export is completed, and I'm going to exit Lightroom Classic for now because we're going to take a look at one of the images and we're going to correct that little footy area there. And so here is the new folder with all of the images. So my full-size panos have been exported and they're ready to upload to Kula if I wanted to, but we're going to do one quick little demo here for you. So I am a Photoshop user, and recently I've become an Affinity Photo user as well. And we're going to jump into Affinity Photo because I really like the fact that Affinity allows me very easily a way to look at things on the 360s as a true 360-degree image. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. Now, this is also possible with Photoshop, but there's a little more involved. So I like the fact that Affinity is making this a little easier on me to not only go in and view them as 360s, but to edit them from being a 360. So as you see now, I have Affinity Photo open here, and I'm going to click and drag that one image in. And so now we're looking at the same first image that we were looking at in Lightroom, and this is looking pretty good. We can see where the feet of that monopod are, and that's what we'd like to get rid of. So here's what's really, really nice on Affinity Photo. I'm going to go over to the layer and down to live projection, and you might have seen this on previous videos that I have on channel as well. I'm going to go to equirectangular projection. And what that is going to do is it's actually going to let me view the room in 360 degrees. So this is really nice. We can zoom in and we can zoom out. And down at the bottom though, there's the base for my monopod. That's something that I would like to remove. So normally, if I wasn't doing this for a class and I was just sitting here working through this for myself, I would go in and fine tune things and edit out things that I don't want. Now over on the left-hand side, I have an in-painting brush, which I just pointed out on the left-hand bar. I'm just going to grab that in-painting brush, and we're going to paint out. Oh, I missed a little of it at the bottom. Whoops. All right, so mistakes happen. And now I'm just going to clean this up a little bit more. But you can see where vacuuming has also occurred on this carpet. All right, so we've edited that base out very, very nicely. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go back up to the arrow tool on the left-hand side, the move tool. And now we can go back to edit live projection. So we're going to do that. And we're just waiting for it to get us back to that live projection. And there we go. So now looking around this room, the feet from that were actually taken off. We could brush out this reflection. So we had light beaming in from a window right over here. So the light was coming in, and you can actually see the slats from the window treatments here. So we know exactly where our light is coming in from. So if you wanted to take the time in Lightroom or Photoshop or Affinity or any other editor that you want to use, you could actually do that here. So we're going to close out of this one in a moment. I'm not actually going to save this, but I could easily save it and go through and get our touch-ups. Like right here on the wall, there was two little dings in the wall, and let's change that field of view. Let's zoom it on in. So we can actually see those two damaged spots right in there as well. And I could, in fact, go back over on the left-hand bar of Affinity Photo and pull up the in-painting brush again and fix those if I wanted to. Actually, let's go ahead just so you can see. So I popped that one out and I popped that one out, and now that's all nice and cleaned up. In the upper left corner, I'm going to grab the move tool again and go up to edit live projection, and we'll get ourselves back here. So let's bring that back out to 75, or we could even zoom it out further just to get that look around the room. Now, if I was satisfied with this and I said to myself, I do want to save it, what I would do is go up to Layer, Live Projection. I would remove the projection, and we're going to get back to that standard odd-looking 360 view that we have. Now that we're back here, we could just go right up and hit Save. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save. Why not? So when we do the virtual tour together, we'll have one image that doesn't have the monopod base associated with it. So now that I'm happy that this has been edited, I'm going to just go ahead and close that. And I could pull in multiple additional images if I wanted to. Let's just take a look through here. All right, we're looking at that room that's got the bad paint spots. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and edit this one because you already know this is going to be a longer video since it's a full tutorial on putting these together. So I'm going to drag that JPEG in that has the bad spot that I don't like. And we also need to deal with the feet on the monopod. So once again, I'm going to go up to Layer. I'm going to go down to Live Projection and make it equirectangular. And while we're here, I'm also going to remove myself. So there we go. We're going to take those out so that you can see all the buttons. Let's make sure video capture device. And let's go back to that image really quick. Oh, wrong one. There we go, image layer. Okay, so that image layer is not hiding anything on us, so I feel better about that. So we can leave me up on screen. All right, we have now gone to that equirectangular, and we can see there's some of our problem areas that we want to brush out, see if we could make them a little more uniform. And then down at the bottom, we also have the monopod stand once again. So over on the left-hand side, I'm just pointing at the in-painting brush again. I'm clicking on it, and we got some little shadow going on from that monopod foot as well. Very nicely done. I don't even know how many people honestly look right down at the floors when they're doing these. So now I went back to my move tool. I'm going to go to edit the live projection again. And so it's going to take a moment to get that live projection for us. So there we go. So when you think about it, when you are doing these real estate 360s for your clients, offering them a lower end tour also means less editing time. But let's think about this. If I spend about a half an hour going through all these rooms, how much time am I going to spend on the final edits for these? If it's a low end one and folks don't have a really big budget, you can talk to them about whether or not they want these removed, because that's going to be a little more editing time. As you've seen though, I haven't done a lot of editing time. With these 20 images, I could probably get through them within about a half an hour easily. And that's a pretty sizable tour. We're really going to be showing some things up. So I just selected one more time that in-painting brush. Just going to go up here to where that one bad spot was, and look at that. That went away so nice. Let's go ahead and brush this one out as well. So we've got, this is very uniform. This is looking pretty good to me. This last one is going to be difficult because it's going right up against that ceiling edge, and we don't want to pull anything from the ceiling. So let's see how well Affinity did that. That was actually pretty good. I'm just blocking out a little bit more in here, and let's see if we can get that even better. So that's looking a lot better. And I think for the casual viewer, they're probably going to pan right past this. So now that we've done that, I want to go back to the rectangular view. So I'm going to click on the move tool. I'm going to edit that live projection again. And now we can zoom around the room. We even have some of the detail out of the windows. And remember, this is Ricoh's pretty automated mode where I'm using their HDR mode. So we can darken down these windows a little more if we needed to. And one other thing I noticed was I did not do anything about chromatic aberrations. So we do have some chromatic aberrations in here. So these are the things that you would be dealing with and approaching probably in Lightroom first, once you get your major, the bigger cleanup done, and also maybe getting some more detail out of these windows, turning off your chromatic aberrations, then you would export things for upload. So like I said, even though this is going to be a longer video, we're not covering heavily all of the editing. Now before I hit save on this, I need to go back up to the layer, go down to the live projection, and remove the projection so that we're saving the JPEG as we saw it previously. So there we go, and I set this one up right under the ceiling fan in the master bedroom. We also have a couple other views of the master bedroom as well. So these don't take too long to shoot. Like I said, half an hour range for these 20 images, getting them set up, getting your monopod set up where you want it to best display the rooms. So now I'm going to go up and I'm just going to go ahead and hit save again. And that's going to save to that full-sized folder that I created. All right, now we're going to close that one out, and we're going to close Affinity Photo completely. So there is our full-sized panos, and there is the open folder for it. So we're going to be uploading all 20 of these, and we're going to pretend we did all the editing. I'm also moving that folder off screen because we're going to need to jump into not my Dropbox, but instead into Kula. And I'm going to go ahead and sign in. So we're going to clip this really quickly in the video so that you don't see my username or password. Okay, so I have successfully logged in, and what I want to do now is create a new tour. So we're going to create a new demo tour. I'm also going to be creating the final real tour in the class video series itself. but I just wanted to give you this primer where we're using a lot of the automated functions of the Z1. And these are still sellable products. Now, if you've got the higher end clients, then you're probably not going to want to go this way. You're going to want to use multi-bracketing or the dual fisheye plugin, or you could go in and manually tweak individual 360s as well if you want to. So I'm going to create a tour, and there we go. So we're going to 6672 East Dalton low-end demo tour. So we're even labeling this as a low-end tour. So there we go. And once again, that teachable class isn't online yet, but it will be going up in the next couple of weeks. This video is part of that class for those of you in the class. And this video is available to everyone on YouTube as well, because I wanted to give you a feel for everything that we're going to be doing in that class series. So we're starting from beginner and all the way into the deep dive on the Z1 because it offers a lot more than I think people realize. And I've never seen full tutorials start to finish. I've seen, the assembly, I've seen the edits, but we're pulling all of this together today. So I'm dragging all 20 images over, and now we're doing the uploads. The upload's going to take us a few moments, and we're going to have to also go through and get these things lined up where we want them. So there's a lot more going on with this. And my apologies, I am using a 4G LTE hotspot right now as we're waiting for our cable internet at our new location. So we literally just relocated, got the studio set back up, and now I'm getting back to work because we've lost a little bit of time here in Arizona with some major snowstorms and moving and all sorts of fun stuff. So as you can see, even on 4G LTE, this is loading up pretty quick. And remember, we didn't export these as small images. These are sizable. All right, so all the images are uploaded. I just stopped talking for a few moments just so that we could get through these and we didn't have to talk through the entire upload. So we've got all of the images that we want to use, not necessarily in the order I wanted to use them in. So I'm going to be moving some things around. But before I even start moving things around, now that these have been uploaded, we have all the posts here, and we can actually say, let's post this right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that post button, and it's going to create this new tour for us. Now, I'm going to keep this tour set as unlisted for the moment, and I will list it afterward. But once again, this is a demo tour, so I want to make sure that people are aware that this is not a final product that we would be producing for a client, because remember, we skipped a bunch of edits. So as you can see, we've got a film strip down below, and we have all of these rooms in here. We can line them up in order for the film strip, or we can work with them from here as well. Whatever works best for you. So what I'm going to look at right now, I'm just going to pan around this room really quick. I can zoom out, I can zoom in. So there's our zoom in. And so this is one of the smaller bedrooms in the home. And I'm zoomed out pretty far right now. But as you can see, we're definitely getting a feel for everything inside of this room. Now, I can actually label things and give myself some clues before I start assembling the final tour. So in the case of this one, looking over on the right-hand side of the Kula interface, we have a description, and this is bedroom number 3. So there we go. So I've got a label for this, so it makes it easier for me to connect to other images in the series. So this is bedroom number 3, and bedroom number 3 from entrance. Let's be a little more descriptive, because bedroom number 3 is coming in from the hallway. So maybe I'll even label this hallway entrance. So as we're labeling things and making connections for our clients, this is also editing time. So we had maybe some editing time in Lightroom. We've had some editing time in Photoshop or Affinity. Now that we've uploaded, we've got a little more editing time where we're putting in these descriptions for ourselves. And we also have our heading for this particular room. So in the case of this particular room, we would be walking in from the hallway. So I would like to pan around to this side and actually have it heading toward that window. So when someone's taking the tour and they come into this room, they're going to be looking toward that nice window right there. So now we've got that, so we can come back to it anytime. And when someone comes in to look at this particular room, they're going to be facing in this direction first. So that's awesome. Now, in the case of Kula, we've got multiple effects that we can add and filters. I'm not going to use any of those. I want to go with what I've done. You could even do HDR tone mapping, which is, that's awful there, because we've already got an HDR on this. In the pro version of Kula, you can also add audio files. So you can actually give people an audio walkthrough of the place they're visiting. This doesn't just have to be about homes, okay? Maybe you're visiting a mall, or maybe you're visiting a unique shopping plaza. We've got a really neat 3-story one in town here in Prescott, which I'm thinking about doing a tutorial series in as well. But so it's not just about real estate. These virtual tours can be for more. We can also set up, let's see in here, we had the HDR tone mapping, the sharpness, our audio. We can also set up zoom limits so that we don't let people zoom all the way in. So maybe we don't want them doing a full zoom in. In that case, we could actually set our zoom limits both upper and lower. We can also select our pitch movement. So if we didn't want people looking up at the top or down at the bottom where they might find our monopod stand, we could tell Kula, hey, we don't want to let people pitch up and down that much. So I'm just going to slide this over to show to you. And now tilting up, it won't let me tilt all the way. And tilting down, it won't let me tilt all the way. So one of your questions to yourself might be, how far do we want to let visitors to this tour look up and look down? If we're trying to hide some things on the ceilings or on the floors, like our monopod, or maybe used a tripod, if we want to keep them from looking down, we can use this pitch limit. Most other 360 applications for web viewing do very similar things as well. Also, so we had level correction. So if we feel that the level is not correct, so we have, let me just hit reset on that. But we have a lot of options in Kula. So like I said, Lightroom editing, Affinity Photo or Photoshop editing, now editing in Kula. Suddenly our quick and dirty tour is still taking us some time, okay? So you need to say to yourself, if you're doing one of these lower end tours for a client, you need to keep in mind how much editing you're willing to do, since you spent that half-hour shooting and now you're going to be going through assembling this entire tour. So we're going to scroll down and we can make the location public, so that will have our GPS coordinates of the home location. So that's something that you can turn right on and also turn right off if you want to. You can also make the photo data available to the public as well for what camera was used. You can also set it up if we're not using a panoramic image. You can pop some still images into these tours as well, which is really nice. And we can also hide the stitching line if visible. But in looking through this one, I certainly didn't see the stitching line in here. I think it might be right there. So here we are. We've edited one single item. I'm going to hit the save button in the upper right hand corner. So our settings for this particular one have been saved. We can now move on to our next image to edit. Now I'm not going to take you through every single one of these things that I've done in Kula. I'm going to go through and set all of these up. So one of the things that I want to do is get all of these labeled appropriately first so that I can easily work with them. Now, when we're importing from Lightroom, we can also set up descriptions. So maybe we could have those descriptions done ahead of time. where we put the description into Lightroom and then it shows up in Kula, or we can put the descriptions here in Kula. So I'm going let's put these in Kula as we're building this. I'm going to hit the save button again, and I can move on to the next one. And once again, this is also the same room. So this is going to be bedroom number 3 again. Bedroom number 3, walk, closet. So this one I'm going to label as bedroom number 3 with the walk-in closet, because the walk-in closets are almost bedroom sized in this place. They're very, very, very huge. I'm scrolling down and I'm just going to go to pitch limit and put it to 0 for the moment so that when we come in, we're nice and level. Because what I'm going to do here is at the heading, I'm going to click the heading button. So when viewers, after they enter the room through the entryway and they're looking over at the window that is over here, the next movement we're going to have them make is into the center of this room so that they can see that giant walk-in closet. They can see those lovely windows with the shades, and they can see the 2 dings that I personally put into the wall accidentally. This was the old studio room. And but they can actually look around in here, but I want them to have that first view, see that giant walk-in closet, and also see the entryway from the hallway. So now that I've got this one set up fairly well, I can go back down and I can change that pitch limit so that people can look all over the place. So one thing I'd suggest in whatever 360-degree tool you're using for online display is to really spend some time checking out the features and the tools offered to you. You've got Cloud Pano and Theta, and of course, Kula that we're using, and there are just so many other 360 viewers out there. So it's really up to you. One of the reasons why I picked this one, beyond just the fact I like its display quality, is the fact that it makes MLS safe links as well, so that you can pass those on to the realtors that you're working with. So I'm going to make sure that I've saved this one, and then I can move on to a next image, which is bedroom number 2. So this is actually bedroom number 2 from the entrance. And so right in here, bedroom number 2 from entrance. So there I go. I've already got that selected and I've got it named and labeled. And in a moment, I'm going to pause this video for you and I'm going to go through and label all these. Now you'll notice that the paint color in this room was fairly different than the other room down the hallway. By the way, we see our entryway, so we know that we're coming in from the hallway. We can just make out the doorway to bedroom number 3. So I didn't want to actually get the full view down the hallway in this case. I really wanted it to start at bedroom number 2 so that folks could get that feel of coming in. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save on that one. And at that point, we're going to pause this video. I'm going to go through and label everything and get things aligned where I want to. So when we come back in this video, we're actually going to go through and start making the connections from room to room and from area to area. And then after that, we'll actually take a walk through and see how our results come out. Keep in mind, this is the fast way to do this. So we can do much higher end tours, and it's going to be up to you, but I would suggest creating low-end tour demos and high-end tour demos so that your potential clients get a really good feel for the type of product that you're delivering to them. All right, here we are back again, and I've gone through and labeled all of the rooms, which is going to help me actually design the tour and be able to move in the right directions. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to be adding hotspots to each of our 360 images. So over on the right-hand side, we have a button that says hotspots here for us. And as you can see, we've got an image. I've got this little arrow here, and that arrow can be labeled and positioned wherever we want to. So I'm going to use these simple arrows to help guide people through the tour. And we're going to have more than one link. So right here, we have an arrow that's heading into the center of the living room. And we've actually got a center living room as well on here. So one of the labeled items that I did was the center of the living room. So I'm just going to type in here, living room. Now I'm typing these things in and actually showing you as I'm typing them in because I want you to get a feel for the fact that these don't come together instantly, and even on lower end tours, you're still going to be spending some time. So after labeling it, I'm just going down, and the click action, I'm going to go to another post because I want that center living room. So there we go, living room center. So that one is going to bring us right to the center, and now I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Now we do have a lot of different buttons for our navigation. I do like these kind of three-dimensional off the floor here. It's giving me kind of a sense of where I'm moving. And I need to make some new hotspots again. So I'm going to go back up on the top bar here on the right-hand side. I'm going to click photo again. And we're going to turn over this way toward the hallway, toward the other bedroom. So I'm going to pop a hotspot in. And there we go. I just wanted to get that hallway in there. Hallway. 2 bed, 2 and 3. So hallway to bedrooms 2 and 3, and also that contains our guest bathroom as well. I'm going to go down to go to another post, and then we'll wait to see. There we go. I labeled bedroom 2 and 3 hallway, so we'll select that one right there. And when people navigate in this direction, it's getting them into the hallway. Since we've got part of this cut off here and we don't have visibility to everything else going on in the hallway, I'm only going to put one more item over here to be able to click through. So going back up to photo, and I'm going to do another hotspot, and this one I'm going to move right to about here, and we're going to rotate that so that people know the direction they're going into bedroom number 2. So bedroom 2 entrance. So we've got some labels in here, and right now all of these labels are turned on. We can make those labels hide, and what I'm going to do down here is make sure that, okay, we have it only on hover. So these should be hidden when they're not being edited. So bedroom 2 entrance, and now I'm going to go down to my actions, go to another post. And this is how so many other 360 tools work. So you're getting the idea here. And there I go, bedroom number 2 from the entryway. So I'm going to select that right there. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the save button. So now, looking at this first image, the living room center, hallway to beds, bedroom number 2 entrance, we have some things that we can actually click through. I'm going to hit the save button again here. And then I'm going to hit the close button just so that you can see these. So if we had just come into the tour, let's actually, I'm just switching, and I'm switching back again. So we've just come into the tour. We've just started to see the living room area. We see that we've got a hallway, and we've got a bedroom entrance, and we've got the living room center. I'm going to go ahead and click on that living room center. And there are no arrows or anything in here yet because I haven't gone through and created them or labeled them or anything. So in this one, we would probably be putting a navigation tool here, a navigation tool to the left going into the bedroom hallway, a navigation tool to the right for heading into the master bedroom and into the laundry area, as well as this doorway here that's leading out to the garage. And we would also be putting another clickable in here as we're progressing on in. Now, I'm not going to torture you with that and make you go through all 20 images worth of editing right now. Instead, I'm going to go through and do those edits, and then we're going to come back again in the wrap up to this video where we actually have the full tour completed. So no time will pass for you. Plenty of time is going to pass for me. And I'll be sure to pay attention to how long this takes. As you can tell, if we're talking about a half an hour walkthrough in a home where we're actually shooting with the Ricoh Theta Z1, we could be looking at, for folks who are really quick with this, maybe 15, 20, upwards of 30 minutes. And then we have to go through all this assembly. And once again, just to review, we did some editing in Lightroom. We did a little editing in Affinity Photo just to demo removing the monopod footers. And then we're still doing a little more work when we get into Kula or other tools. So when you're thinking about pricing this as a low-end walkthrough, you also have to think about how much time and how much workflow do you have to develop over time to get this to be a really quick and smooth process for you. And then once again, if we want that higher end tour look, that's going to take even more editing time. So when you're pricing these things, keep in mind how much time it's going to take you. Go out and do some practice. Do some practice shooting in your own home or a friend's home, or go do practice shooting in other locations if you're not looking to do real estate, and instead maybe you're trying to do some really cool virtual tours of places, must-see places, must-visit places. All right, with that, we're going to stop the video here. I'm going to go through and make all these connections, and I can tell you it's going to be a little while before I'm back. All right, so no time has passed for you at all. Plenty of time's passed for me. Number one, working on this 360 tour, but several phone calls and other things. Hey, the business of the day still happens. So here we are in Kula, and I've actually created all the links. Once again, you can use different types of links. You don't have to use these arrows here. So you have options, and you can actually import your own link icons as well. So number one, looking at this, I said to myself, yeah, this is a little too cool in here, but then we've got this warm area over here because of the fact that we had the incandescent light for the hallway turned on. So you can see this golden tan here. It's not looking so golden tan in the TV area, but when you kick on the ceiling light there, it does warm up quite a bit. So first thing we're going to do, we linked a lot of things together. So we've got going into the dining area, we've got the hallway over to the laundry and the master bedroom and master bath. And over on this side, we've got another hallway into bedrooms number 2 and 3 and their guest bath as well. But let's take a look at this. Each of these doesn't have a label until I point at it. So you don't have to label things. And I've seen a lot of virtual tours where there aren't labels. I'm just kind of clicking around. And I like having labels. This is a personal preference because I want to know what room I'm in. And some of the higher end tours that I've been through just have these little circles on the floor and you follow it around, but I'm not quite sure where I'm going. So I do like putting a little bit of information in there. And let's go to the living room center area. And I actually had it turn to face back to the entryway. So now we've got that hallway to the master bed. We've got the entryway from the driveway. We've got bedroom number 4 because they call this a 4-bedroom, but this is more like a den. And hallway to beds 2 and 3 in the guest bath. But let's continue on into the bright area. As I said, this particular house, the living room area is actually fairly dark in comparison to, let's say, the kitchen and dining area. And it's all dependent on time of year and the sun coming in through those windows. So during the winter, the southern exposure is where the light's coming, and that is not near these windows. These windows are north facing. But once we get into the dining area, you can see, and keep in mind, the Z1 was on fully auto settings with its HDR mode. So I could have toned the living room down a little bit more, but since I was doing this as a class and a demo, I think we've done good enough. So I'm going to move over to the kitchen island center so that we can look into that kitchen area, see the big fridge and the microwave and stove. And then we've got a cooktop over here. And we can actually get into the kitchen view to take that look around in there. And so once again, this is not a high-end tour. This is a low-end virtual tour where we're not doing a lot of heavy edits to this, but it sure does allow people to walk through here. You could also add still images in here, or you could add still video pop-ups as well. So if you wanted to do a walkthrough video style, we could also have those types of links in here. All right, we're going to go back into the kitchen area, and from the kitchen area, we're going to make our way back across. So as you can see, with the sun to our, with the light to our bag, the colors are definitely richer in here. So there is a balancing act when you're doing the 360s And it's going to depend on how much time you want to spend on it, what the client is paying for it. So you can give them the options of the higher end tours and really getting all the colors pretty much spot on by using multi-bracketing on the Z1 or by using the dual fisheye. So we're going to take a look. Let's go take a look at, actually, let's go into that hallway first. So we're in the hallway for bedrooms number 2 and 3, and I wanted to show you one other mistake. There's the photographer there, hiding out behind the wall. By the way, we do have the incandescent lights on, which does make everything warmer in the hallway, and then you look into the bedroom and you're like, ooh, that's a little flatter. Let's go into bedroom number 2. So it's a gray-green wall, and that's pretty accurate of that particular room. You can look back out into the hallway area, once again, the hallway back to the guest bath, or head out to the living room. And I also put one more in here because showing off these rooms, the walk-in closets were massive. So those are a big selling point. You can also see, as I noted before, because we weren't doing any heavy editing, some of those paint patches that the owners of the place had actually done to cover up things over the years. It seemed to me like they never really got the right color match. And all right, let's go back out into that hallway and let's go into bedroom number 3, the former studio here. And I'm going to go to the center of the room so that once again we can show off the gigantic walk-in closets. So these rooms are not as large as, let's say, the master bedroom, but definitely if you had kids or something, definitely 2 nice rooms for them. We'll get back into the hallway. Let's take a look at that guest bath. Not a lot of room in this at all, but the 360s do give you the option to really look around and get a feel for these rooms, even if they're smaller and they're tougher to photograph in a standard still image. So let's go back out. We can go to bedroom 2 or the hallway. I'm going to choose to go back to the hallway again. And we'll go back out to that living room area. We could check out the den. We can go back to the entryway, but instead I'd like to go over to that hallway for the master bed and also the washer and dryer rooms right here. So master bedroom's right next to it. We can actually go into that laundry room, take a look at the washer and dryer, and also take a look at the cabinetry through here. So a lot of storage in this place. I'm going to hit the master bedroom. So we're coming into the master bed. And by the way, once again, you know, the HDR mode usually does a little better, and I could have dropped the highlights a little more, but honestly, there's snow all over the place outside on the ground, and the snow, you know, the light was pouring in from those windows from all the reflection of the snow. Let's go to the center of the master bedroom, and this was the other one we quickly retouched, but you can see there's still a little more. So if I'd spent a little time going through those, we could have cleaned that all up. Now let's head over to the master bath. Very nice setup in here. By the way, we've got 2 mirrors. So normally this is where photographers are afraid that they're going to get picked up in the mirrors. But with the monopod and the Ricoh Theta Z1, I put it right between these 2 angles so that you don't even see that the 360 camera's in here. So just an alternate view of the master bath. And there was a typo in there. I spelled alternate wrong. I forgot an E. So there we go. Main bathtub, also the stand-up shower, and 2 different walk-in closets, plus the restroom facilities. So there we go. We'll come back out from the master bed, and then we can walk back through. So we could go back into the laundry or pop ourselves back out into that living room area. Finally, let's look in the den real quick, because that was another place where touch-up paint really did not do a good job. We can see one item right here, and then this entire corner was definitely mismatched. Every time I looked in there, I actually cringed because I noticed it more doing photography work in the house, but then you just notice it more once you know that it's there. So this is a very simple, basic tour that requires just a little more editing on my part. I should have tweaked things in Lightroom beforehand, but I wanted to give you this full walkthrough idea and show you what a basic walkthrough could be for potential customers. Because as I've said, you know, a lot of higher end homes are doing 360s, and they're doing the higher end shots with digital SLRs and with off-camera lighting regularly, which we're capable of doing as well. But we wanted to give the Theta Z1 a full-on test to see how our walkthrough would be. And I do think that this shows people enough around the house to really get a feel for the home. So keep in mind that you can offer lower end tours or higher end tours or build packages. So build a package with exterior drone shots, interior still shots, maybe a 360 tour, maybe even a quick small video tour as well. The more items that you can offer, the different ways that you can spin the packages and actually pay yourself for the work for the day that you're doing. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap this one up now. And sorry for the length of it, but I really wanted to go through from kind of start to finish of building one of these and also talking about the walkthrough for acquiring all the images to begin with. All right, we'll wrap this one up and we'll see you in an upcoming video.